Good morning from day 5 of paddling. I'm about nearly 2 hours downstream from Narrandera. I had the day off yesterday in Narrandera, which was good, it was well needed. I did a bit of cleaning, washing a few clothes myself, a bit of gear. I've restocked supplies. Went and did a bit of a shop for food for this next section. Tomorrow's the last day of the leg from Narrandera to Hay. Got a short paddle tomorrow down into Hay, about 34 k's, 35 k's. So I'll get down there and then have a day off tomorrow. That will be 6 days paddling from Narrandera through to Hay. Day 5 was the first day out of Narrandera, and that was 2 weir days. So I had 2 weirs to navigate. The first was Yanko Weir. That was pretty straightforward. It was fairly easy to get out of the river up onto the bank. There was a bit of a path then to get around the weir, and then a little bit of a stony ramp, boat ramp, to get back into the river on the other side. The way traversing the weirs works is that you get the kayak out of the water, and then on the trolley that I've been carrying, you put the kayak with the gear and walk it around the weir, hopefully on a convenient path, and then hopefully conveniently be able to put the kayak back into the river on the other side. The second weir, Bidgee Weir, that was a lot more difficult. It was quite painful. There was no clear place to hop out at Bidgee. There was a bit of a goat track to get around, and again no easy place to put back into the river. On the right hand side of the weir there's a campground with a large 6-foot fence, and below the weir there's a stony bank for quite a way, fairly steep, so it's right hand side's not an option. On the left hand side, sort of had to stand half in the water and unload the kayak up onto a bank, up a couple of foot, and then pull the kayak up out of the water, put it on the trolley. There was a bit of a track, load the kayak up with all the gear and walk it along the track. Getting back into the water after Bidgee Weir, there was a nice little sandy beach in amongst some trees. That was a good spot to hop back into the river, but it was down below a little bit of a steep part of the bank, so I had to carry all the gear down separately from the bank down to the beach and the kayak itself, and then reload everything. So getting around Bidgee Weir took about an hour 45, close to 2 hours. The second day out of Narrandera was a paddle through Darlington Point at lunchtime. I pulled up at the boat ramp at Darlington Point, went up into the small little village and grabbed some lunch, a nice cool drink and an ice cream at the general store, topped up all the water and then headed off again. It's a fairly big day, managed to paddle 69 kilometres on that day, which was making good progress. It was a nice day. At Carrathul there's two bridges. One's a grand old metal bridge that looks like a drawbridge. It's quite an impressive structure, very intricate. It looks quite complicated. And then there's a new modern bridge beside it. Day 7 of this leg, the next day, it was the hard and heavy day, so I just didn't feel it on day 7. Managed to paddle 56 kilometres, but they were fairly hard kilometres, just didn't feel like it. Everything felt to be going in slow motion. The distance took a long time to get through. I put on a podcast and that didn't really work, I didn't feel like that. Did listen to some music for an hour or so that perked me up for a bit. I just realised that it just wasn't a very good day for me. Saw a lot of birds on day 8, and at one instance went around a corner and there was an amazing raucous of cockatiels going on. There were hundreds of them. And then just beside them, going around the same bend, there was about 30 or 40 hawks that were obviously stirring up the cockatiels. Also during the day, I reckon I saw about 3 or 4 wedgies, big wedge-tail eagles. Huge big things sitting proud way up in a tree. And then today, the theme of today was heat. The forecast temperature for today was 42 degrees. It did get very warm. I managed to get all the paddling done by 1 o'clock. I only had to paddle 38 kilometres, both to avoid the heat this afternoon, but also because I had a short day today and tomorrow before getting to Hay. I didn't really need to put a lot of kilometres in today. So paddling was okay, managed to get here in pretty good time. I'm on a fairly broad sandy beach. I've managed to stay in the shade and deal with the heat. Hasn't been too bad, been jumping in the river periodically to cool off and definitely staying in the shade. Anything that's been out in the sun earlier on, it was just cooking, it was really hot, quite boiling. So tomorrow finishes the 6 days paddling from Narrandera through to Hay. It's been quite good, it's been enjoyable, and experiencing various things along the way, the heat, the bird life, the forest. Paddling's been good. I'll have a rest day at Hay and clean up, restock supplies again, and then have 8 days paddling through to the Murray River, going through Maud and Balranald along the way. Certainly looking forward to the last section of the paddle where it starts to get really remote. It's interesting just coming towards Hay, while there's plenty of huge big river red gums beside the river. Going for a walk, it's not too far away from the river, a few hundred metres, and the bushland's quite scrubby, very stunted trees, more like mulga type trees. So I'm just pulling into Hay. That's the Narrandera to Hay leg done. Just working out, I've got to get out on the left. Just working out where there's a spot for me to get out. Just before the bridge up here. It's a little bit of rain at the moment. Light rain, it's been light rain most of the way, but very pleasant, very mild today. Overcast, that bit of light rain most of the way, so that was fine. So a very pleasant morning to finish off Narrandera to Hay.